Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and a very warm welcome to Government House Yumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawal. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and recognise any other people or families with connection to the ACT and region. I respect their continuing culture and the contribution to the life of Canberra and the surrounding region. I also acknowledge and welcome any other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who may be here with us this afternoon or watching online. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also the Secretary for the Council for the Order of Australia, the body which makes recommendations in the General Division to the Governor-General, who is both the Chancellor of the Order and the Principal Companion of the Order. And I'm also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for Bravery Awards. Before we start the ceremony this afternoon, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests, Major General Anna Duncan, representing the Chief of Army, Air Commodore Ross Bender, representing the Chief of Air Force, Dr Rachel Bacon, Deputy Commissioner of the Australian Public Service Commission, Commissioner Rhys Kershaw, Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police, and Lieutenant Commander Desmond Woods, representing the National President of the Order of Australia Association. Welcome all. The Australian Honours System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And since its inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, military, bravery or national service. And the Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising that achievement. And it's important to note that nominations come from all parts of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, but also for their friends, their families and their communities. And it's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. My colleagues and I here at Government House look forward to making this afternoon an occasion that you'll all recall with pride for some time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley, and then please remain standing and join in the singing of the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. Once I've read the names of the recipients and their citations, I'll enter from the doorway on my right, and they'll be invested by the Governor-General before returning via the central aisle to take up their seats at the back of the room. And it's at this point you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause. After the ceremony is complete, the Governor-General will say a few words and then we'll invite the recipients to join with Her Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph and for guests to head through to the dining room and out onto the lakeside terrace where refreshments will be served. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, would you please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Hurley, and for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please be seated.
Good afternoon, and could I add, Linda and my warmest welcome to those you've already received at Government House this afternoon. We're delighted to be part and parcel of what is a significant day in the life of our recipients, their families, and very importantly of our nation, when we have the opportunity to say thank you and to acknowledge a significant contribution to Australia at the community, to the international level. So again, warmest welcome, delighted to be here. And I also acknowledge the Ngunnawal people and other families with links, custodial links to our region. We thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country for generation after generation. The Canberrans here will know just how beautiful it is here with the Namadgi, Brindabellas, Murrumbidgee, a glorious place, and we're very grateful for it being cared for. An important day, we're all done up in our finery. Bit of pomp, bit of ceremony, but as it should be. These 2 weeks in April and September, when we have the privilege to conduct the investiture ceremonies following the Australia Day and the King's Birthday lists, are the most important 2 weeks of the year for us here at Government House. We find it just so uplifting to be part and parcel of this process of acknowledging tremendous Australians. There are a number of characteristics that we should be thinking about today about our system of recognising people and the people themselves. Firstly, the honours and awards system. As Paul might have mentioned, it began in 1975, about to have its 50th anniversary. It has one important characteristic, I think. It's a bottom-up system. What do I mean by that? I can assure you that I don't sit in my office here on a regular basis during the year, going through lists of who I think are nice Australians who have done really good jobs for us and deciding they should get a medal. Each and every person in the general division, that's the normal community division, who comes through this door or a similar door in another government house around the country, has been nominated by someone in the community. This is our system. We nominate, they're considered, and we recognise. So without nominations, there can be no recognition. I want you to bear that in mind, because after the formal ceremony, I'll issue some homework to you. Now, I won't get to mark it. My successor will, but it's an important homework. So watch and see if you can get a few clues before we get to that point. Another characteristic is that 100% of the people that come through the door will say, I didn't do this for a medal. I do it because it's important. I believe in it. I love it. I cherish it. It needs to be done. And that humility is, well, it's just reinforcing about how good Australians are and the nature of our people. But for the recipients today, particularly, I give you permission not to be so humble. You can boast, not brag, but today Australia is saying thank you. And we want you to celebrate that acknowledgement. And I think the other point is, this is not an end point. Again, recipients, when they come through here on the day, don't stop working. We see this around the country, particularly in the Order of Australia Association, where people continue to give. This is perhaps an exclamation mark in their service, but it's certainly not a full stop. And there's such lovely characteristics of the people that Linda and I are so privileged to meet. So a point as well today about partners and families. This day is very much about partners and families as well. Linda and I understand fully how this works. You don't get the ability, the time, if you don't have support at home. So each of the partners, thank you. This day is about celebrating you as much as it is our recipients. Indeed, with a bit of tongue in cheek, I would say they get their bling today, they should take you shopping. This goes both ways. But again, we look forward to catching up with all of you and meeting you as we celebrate a bit later in the day. Again, to our recipients, thank you. You've made an enormous contribution to our country in your various fields. And it's my delight now to commence the formal investiture ceremony and allow your country to acknowledge you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be appointed a member of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Colin Steele, for significant service to librarianship and to digital information sharing. Mr. Steele has made exceptional contributions to librarianship and scholarly communications in Australia. He played a pioneering role introducing new technology to our nation's libraries and helped to develop and enhance the reputation of the Australian National University, where he served for over 26 years. Beyond his professional life, He's worked with a broad range of national and international publications as editor, advisor, and contributor, as well as a judge in prestigious literary prizes. Mr. Steele has also added greatly to the cultural life of the Canberra community, notably as the organiser of the Meet the Author literary series since 1986. Mr. Colin Steele, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member of the Order in the Military Division, Air Commodore David Clyde, for exceptional service in development and realisation of cyberspace capabilities for the Royal Australian Air Force. Air Commodore Clyde has delivered exceptional outcomes to the Royal Australian Air Force in demanding senior appointments. As Deputy Director of Networks, he introduced capability and governance structures to identify and communicate Air Force's unique requirements in data storage, airborne satellite communications, and intelligence networks. He also oversaw the initial realisation of cyber warfare capabilities, including establishing a specialist workforce and supporting their training. The framework he created has enabled the identification and prioritisation required to address capability risks and issues. Air Commodore Clyde is an officer of impeccable drive whose contributions are in the finest traditions of the Australian Defence Force. Air Commodore David Clyde, appointed a member of the Order. To be appointed a member of the Order in the Military Division, Group Captain Dennis Davidson, for exceptional service in space capability development for Australia and its allies. Group Captain Davidson has provided dedicated service in advancing our Defence Force's understanding of space for operational purposes. As the first Director of the Defence Space Coordinating Office, he determined Defence's needs and developed the subsequent space training plan, including improving access to United States space training opportunities. He gained significant respect in his role as an exchange officer in the United States Space Division at the Pentagon, and his efforts advanced Australia's standing with our major ally. Most recently, he served in Air Force Headquarters, where he's been key to the establishment of the new Defence Space Domain Directorate. Group Captain Davidson's commitment and dedication are most worthy of our recognition. Group Captain Dennis Davidson, appointed a member of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Dr. Ian Hosegood, for service to aerospace medicine. Dr. Hosegood has held many honorary positions on various boards and teaching faculties throughout his career. He's been a leader in the field of aerospace medicine, providing a trusted Australian voice in the international academic, scientific, and industry arenas for decades. He's also highly recognised within the aviation industry, having contributed across defence, regulatory bodies, the Royal Flying Doctor Service and several airlines, in particular during the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr Hosegood's contributions to aviation medicine and the safety of airline travel will have an ongoing legacy. Dr Ian Hosegood awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr Robert Johnson, for service to the community through a range of roles. Mr Johnson is an incredibly selfless and hard-working member of the Bermagui community. He's been donating a range of blood products through the Australian Red Cross for almost 50 years, completing over 800 donations. He's also a long-time volunteer at the Bermagui Surf Lifesaving Club, where he's patrolled local beaches and undertaken rescue work. Mr Johnson is highly respected throughout his community and his commitment inspires us all. Mr Robert Johnson awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, the late Mrs Mary Kell, to be accepted by her daughter, Mrs Alison Ilott, for service to the community through a range of volunteer roles. Mrs Kell inspired many members of the communities she served during her lifetime. She was a life member of the Maria Red Door Theatre, where she undertook a number of important roles, including as a committee member, treasurer, and artistic director. She was also involved in a range of community organisations and projects, from the Dorrigo Dramatic Club to the Dorrigo Lions Club, the Dorrigo Museum, and the Dorrigo branch of the United Hospital Auxiliaries of New South Wales. Mrs Kell's dedication and commitment was of the highest order, and we acknowledge that today. The late Mrs Mary Kell awarded the Medal of the Order and to be accepted by Mrs Alison Ilott. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Ms Wendy Parsons, for service to animal welfare. Ms Parsons has dedicated herself to animal welfare in the Canberra region for over 17 years. She's demonstrated a remarkable ability to inspire and mobilise volunteers, which has resulted in the successful rescue and placement of over 3,500 dogs. Under her leadership, ACT Rescue and Foster has boosted its education and outreach through the transformation of its newsletter into a fundraising magazine called Chinwag. She was also instrumental in developing the organisation's highly popular fundraising dog calendar. Ms Parsons is one of a kind, and her achievements in the service of animal welfare are most noteworthy. Ms Wendy Parsons awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Peter Waterman, for service to the media as a journalist. Mr. Waterman has been a strong advocate for patients and health professionals throughout his journalistic career. During his service as the Pharmaceutical Society of Australia, he wrote about confronting and challenging topics, including alcohol and substance abuse among health professionals, male postnatal depression, drugs in sport, and the role of pharmacists in the community. He continues to serve the health sector as Senior Advisor, Media and Communications at the Pharmacy Guild of Australia. Mr. Waterman is a rare individual who has dedicated himself to improving health outcomes for all Australians. Mr. Peter Waterman awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Colonel Gwenda Casperson, for outstanding devotion to duty as the Army Coordination Officer to the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide. Lieutenant Colonel Casperson has provided exemplary strategic coordination of Army's input into the Royal Commission. She was responsible for the most complex and confronting case submissions, and she demonstrated an outstanding ability to coordinate multiple stakeholders in our Army, our Defence Force and government. A persuasive communicator, she was instrumental in driving a positive and proactive approach across Army in meeting the legislative requirements of the Royal Commission. Lieutenant Colonel Casperson's superior knowledge, her policy detail, dedication and compassion are of the highest order. Lieutenant Colonel Gwenda Casperson awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Warrant Officer Class 1, Stephen Davies, for devotion to duty to the Australian Defence Force in supporting joint military police operations in the most complex and demanding circumstances. Warrant Officer Davies was vital to the expansion and reform of the Joint Military Police Unit in 2020. He led the technical coordination across the 8 joint military police stations and played a major part in generating new standards for policing operations. He also provided key advice to Defence senior leadership and external review bodies, including the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide. Warrant Officer Davies' insight, judgment and innovation are highly respected, and his efforts in improving joint military police operations will be long-lasting. Warrant Officer Class 1, Stephen Davies, awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Karina Arthi, for outstanding public service to economic development and recovery during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ms. Arthi has had a distinguished career spanning 30 years across the Queensland, Commonwealth, and now the ACT Public Services. During the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, she was directly responsible for providing relief and assistance to the ACT business community through the development of support packages. She's also created programs to directly support the hospitality, tourism, and arts sectors. Ms. Arthi is recognised for her integrity and commitment, and her efforts continue to contribute significantly to the strengthening and expansion of Canberra's private sector. Ms. Karina Arthi, awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr. Michael Hatswell, for outstanding public service to public education as a principal of Evatt Primary School. Mr. Hatswell is an exemplary educator and administrator who goes above and beyond in his role as principal of Evatt Primary School. His leadership style inspires teachers and support staff, and he displays an effective problem-solving approach whilst encouraging all to achieve their best. He supports student engagement with a holistic view of their wellbeing needs, including for those who may need extra assistance with nutrition, attendance, and physical and mental health issues. Mr. Hatswell believes in the importance of strong partnerships, working together with staff, students, and families to create a united community and making his school a place where students want to learn. Mr. Michael Hatswell, awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Police Medal, Deputy Commissioner Chrissy Barrett, for distinguished service to the Australian Federal Police in a range of roles, particularly in capability and community safety. During Deputy Commissioner Barrett's extensive policing career, she served in a range of areas, including as the National Coordinator of the Money Laundering Division. In ACT policing, she undertook diverse roles, including Watch House, Ministerial and Policy, Media and Public Relations, Communications, Drug and Alcohol Policy and Patrol, before being appointed Deputy Chief Police Officer. After transferring in 2020 to AFP Melbourne, she became Assistant Commissioner Southern Region in 2021. Deputy Commissioner Barrett has been named as the AFP's First Nations Champion, and she continues to promote a healthy and inclusive workplace culture, create awareness of and advocate for each of the AFP's diversity groups. Deputy Commissioner Chrissy Barrett, awarded the Australian Police Medal. Awarded the Australian Police Medal, Superintendent Raymond Steins, for distinguished service to the New South Wales Police Force, particularly in the area of frontline and strategic community policing. Superintendent Steins joined the New South Wales Police Force in 1992 and gained experience in general duties, anti-theft and investigations working in the Shoalhaven region. With the formation of the New South Coast Police District in 2018, he accepted the position of Officer in Charge of the Nowra sector. His skills and leadership qualities have directly contributed to bridging social and economic issues within the Shoalhaven, reducing crime and investing in youth. Superintendent Steins is recognised for his commitment and dedication to the New South Wales Police Force and to the communities he serves. Superintendent Raymond Steins awarded the Australian Police Medal. Awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal, Mr. Dom Labout, for distinguished service to the national intelligence community. Mr. Labout has provided dedicated service to the intelligence community for over 2 decades in his roles with the Australian Federal Police. He has consistently performed at a high standard in both domestic and international environments, working collaboratively and leading colleagues in identifying intelligence and law enforcement opportunities. Mr. Labout's capacity to manage high workloads, at times against a backdrop of difficult and unusual circumstances, is a testament to an achievement-filled career. Mr. Dom Labout awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations this afternoon.
Well, we have acknowledged each of our recipients individually. I think it'd be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group. Congratulations to you all. I hope that as the members of the General Division, so the non-military and non-meritorious wards were coming through, you got a glimpse of the cross-section of activities that people are acknowledged for under the Order of Australia. A lot of community commitment at many, many levels. When I get to the homework, which is right now, I dare say, it's that point of the day, isn't it? Homework. So children, be listening. You know in your community people exactly like those who have walked through the door today who are contributing significantly to better the community. And the homework is go back and think about who deserves to be nominated for consideration for acknowledgement. You know the people. While you're doing that, could you bear a couple of things in mind? One is gender equality in our system. Over the last 3 to 4 years, we have reached a point of 50-50 allocation or acknowledgement in our lists, as it should be. Our award system should reflect who we are as Australia. We are still underrepresented in the multicultural area and in Indigenous people. So we need to work on those two, work in hand from our point of view, but we need people in their communities to be considering, should they be considered for recognition. So homework, go back home, have a think about it, nominate, take those factors into account. Our job here is to mark your homework. Now, my successor will mark the future, your homework, in the latter part of this year, in September or onwards. But important that you give good thought to who should be recognised in our country. Trust you to do that. Again, congratulations to our recipients. Again, a heartfelt thank you to partners, family members of recipients today for your role in helping to achieve and to be acknowledged today, and to friends who have played a similar role as well. It's a very special day in the life of the country, and we're here at Government House. We just think these days are the best days of each year. Twice a year we get to do this, April and September. It's really uplifting, and I hope you find it exactly the same. Again, welcome to Government House. Look forward to celebrating with you all in a moment. Congratulations to our recipients.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has set this afternoon, I do encourage you to access the online nomination form, which is available on the Governor-General's website at www.gg.gov.au. As the Governor-General has said, it is a relatively straightforward process, and we look forward to welcoming those that have been successful through that process to an investiture such as this in the future. I now invite the recipients to join with Their Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs, and for guests to head through to the dining room and out onto the lakeside terrace where refreshments will be served. Would you please stand for the departure of Her Excellencies, the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. I invite you to head out to the lakeside terrace and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.